Hello everyone and welcome back to game week 2 of the 2024-25 Optegra Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and my co-commentator for the first time this weekend, Chairperson Dean Williams, for the action between Manchester United and Teesside still. Dean, how are you?
Hello Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm very well.
I'm very good too, and pleased to be back here for game week 2. How's it been? I've only got here this afternoon today.
It's been excellent, really competitive, really cagey, and I mean that in a good way. We're seeing teams towards the bottom of the table, talking about Manchester City and Nottingham Forest, be really competitive against teams towards the summit, which is exactly what we want to see. Let's go through the teams quickly, and then myself and Dean will bring you the action live, starting with the designated home team. They've already played twice today. They have drawn one and lost one. They're comprised of Kieran Burns, Josh Slack, Sam Taylor, Shannon Smith and Anne-Marie Robertson. Their coach Pete Taylor. Teesside still comprised of Jamil Khan, Thomas Met, Isaac Murray, Luke Heenan and Oscar Mulgrew. Their coach Graham Mulgrew. We are soon to be underway. Match officials for this one: Alan Murray in the centre, complemented by Jeff Lewis and Jamie King, as the final half of football is underway. We're using the bright blue ball, Teesside in white, comprised of Isaac Murray, Oscar Mulgrew, Thomas Met and Jamil Khan. Manchester United, Josh Slack, Kieran Burns, Shannon Smith and Sam Taylor. A win for Manchester United would see them go joint on points with GBG Knights. Oh, sorry, a point below them in the table. Teesside Steel would surpass West Bromwich Albion Dudley in the standings, and dependent on the goal difference could also overtake Leeds Dynamos as well. So it could be a really significant performance and result. But beating Manchester United is far from a formality. They were playing their football in the Premiership last year and only dipped into that relegation zone in the final few fixtures, so they'll be disappointed they're not playing their football in the top flight. So I can almost guarantee an immediate return is top of the priority list. As you will see from your streams, this weekend we're proudly supporting Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign since 2013. The campaign has inspired millions of people to drive change, and we're reaffirming our commitment to creating a sport where everyone feels free to be themselves. Many of our players have rainbow laces wrapped around their armrests, or are wearing them as they are intended, as laces on their shoes.
As are the officials.
As are the officials.
One of our core foundations, Ryan, as you've heard me talk about a number of times, the inclusivity aspect of our sport continues to impress me. Really, really important that we always hold ourselves to account on that as well.
Kieran Burns and Jamil Khan likely to be a key battle across this fixture. As has been mentioned several times across today, this season's National League proudly sponsored by Optegra Eye Healthcare, encompassing both National League Premiership and the National League Championship. They're a renowned eye care provider bringing cutting-edge technology and expertise to eye health, working with the NHS to provide timely cataract surgeries and advanced correction solutions. Kieran Burns trying to get Manchester United up the court. It was a disappointing defeat to GBG Knights. 4-0 that finished. Their first defeat of the season. GBG Knights have been fairly formidable.
Yeah, interesting to see how they respond to that reverse.
Teesside Steel, however, have had a fantastic day. They faced GBG Knights in their opening game and was able to get a point, applying the further context, having called commentary for it. They were 1-0 up until late on. GBG Knights were awarded a penalty in stoppage time to secure a point from that one. So Teesside Steel will be disappointed they haven't got maximum points coming into this one against Manchester United. But they were able to secure a fairly comprehensive 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest at 2 o'clock. 2 goals from the poacher, Thomas Met, and a single from Oscar Mulgrew. If they're able to get 3 points here, 7 points from a possible 9. At face value is excellent, but considering the opposition in which they're faced, it makes it even more impressive ahead of their games tomorrow.
Mr. Met seems to have taken to that title, doesn't he?
He certainly has. Oscar Mulgrew tries to squeeze the ball between the Manchester United defence. Teesside Steel, 2 games tomorrow. Fairly tough. Villa Rockets Lions and Sale United. I just watched Sale United suffer a very narrow 1-0 defeat. It's Thomas Met. Didn't quite have the timing and or connection to trouble Joshua Slack, but the positioning was most certainly there. But watching Sale United, they're a really stubborn outfit who troubled Leeds Dynamos, another team with aspirations of potential promotion or that 3rd place playoff position. It's so competitive, just like the Premiership division. Nothing is a formality. Anyone can beat anyone, and that's not a cliche. That's the reality of what's unfolding in front of us. Live on Court A, Dylan Palmer and Rosie Hodgson are calling the action live between GBG Knights and Hull and East Yorkshire. A win for GBG Knights would still see them sit 3 points off of Muscle Warriors, who have secured 7 wins from 7 games, yet to even concede a goal.
Wow. Some stats.
It's just commentated on Leeds Dynamos and Sale United with Hannah Hindley, Muscle Warriors designated goalkeeper. She basically spoke about how amazing it is in and around Muscle Warriors at the moment.
Well, she's always happy, Hannah, from my perspective, but she'll be very happy with those stats, my goodness.
Game week 3 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship will see GBG Knights take on Muscle Warriors. That's the 15th and 16th of February, so we typically observe a fairly long lull around the Christmas and winter period. Logistics, travel, accommodation, and obviously player performance suffers as a result of the cold temperatures, so we do everything we can to safeguard our players. Obviously, vulnerable members of society and can be very susceptible to things such as common colds and flu, so we try to ensure around December, January and February we don't have as much football. Now Sam Taylor looking to break away from Manchester United. It's been a fairly sustained spell of pressure from Teesside still.
Quick shout out to you, Ryan. You always get embarrassed by these things, but the work you've put into this commentary team, it's amazing.
It kind of, it's not me that needs thanking, it's all of the volunteers. I think we've had every game commentated on today by a pair. I think at one half I was on my own, but beyond that, on court A, there's always been a duo, whether that's Rosie Hodgson, Dylan Palmer. We just have a fantastic cohort of young, aspiring, enthusiastic commentators now that are bringing the game to life.
Okay, so I'm just going to go in there and say that to the audience listening around this, Ryan is being very, very modest. He puts a lot of work into that and makes sure our commentators are armed with some incredible stats and up-to-date information. So I'm not going to let you go away with that one, Ryan. Thank you very much for all the work you do. But no, I love the fact, one of those great things, walk in this afternoon and see so many people willing to commentate. It's brilliant.
I think the good thing for me is it's not a good thing, but it reflects kind of the position we're in. Is have to reject people now.
Yeah.
Bear in mind we've got 2 commentators on each court for every single game. I'm having to tell people you have to wait. You have to kind of earn the opportunity to come and do it. And through that, we go through processes such as the commentary course, and we have to assess players' suitability and their performance levels to ensure that the commentary is the best it can possibly be. No different to how you play football. You have to be at the top level to contribute and be a part of it. And that's reflected now in the commentary, in the streams. You've got players doing their research, their due diligence, and coming prepared with stats and facts and the narratives that bring it to life. So it's not just about coming and talking about the power chair football, which for the most of the time can speak for itself. It's talking about players such as Kieran Burns, obviously deriving from Scotland, coming to play football in England. We had Naglish Montvillas, Republic of Ireland international, making his National League debut, scoring on it as well. There's so many stories, and that's what commentators are there to do, to tell them stories.
It makes it jump to life, makes a huge difference.
But anyone that's interested in contributing and supporting our commentary team, we always encourage you to reach out to us, because it does kind of come on a first-come, first-served basis. But as already mentioned, we want to see the demonstration of ability as well. We're happy to guide you along that process. You don't need to be an expert. I had Hannah Hindley with me commentating the previous game. That was the first ever game she's called. So it is really great to see. Really even this game between Teesside Steel and Manchester United. I think that was always going to be the case. Alan Murray signalling a free kick in favour of Teesside Steel. 8 minutes remaining of this first half. Manchester United 0, Teesside Steel 0. The final game of the day in game week 2 of the Optegra Championship. We'll of course be back tomorrow with plenty more games, 12 to be precise. As Isaac Murray guides it into the side of Oscar Mulgrew. And I believe a penalty has been awarded in favour of Teesside Steel. The contact from Josh Slack, who just swiped into the side of Oscar Mulgrew. He definitely knew it was a penalty. Was quick to apologise. He's not able to move until the ball struck, but he can sit side on, which is a slight deviation from the rules that are utilised at world level. Oscar Mulgrew to take. Josh Slack in the Manchester United goal. Shapes up. Both officials have their flags raised to signal the fact that Josh Slack moved prior to the ball being struck, which, as mentioned already, is not allowed.
That was quite clear, that.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a penalty to be taken in the Premiership division, and we saw it retaken 4 times before it was eventually saved. But Josh Slack will be given a few opportunities, but stationary moved once again. He's moved as signalled by Jeff Lewis. He's not happy about it. There's milliseconds in it, but
it is clear, though.
But it is clear. It is clear. So the correct decision signalled by Jeff Lewis. The third time of asking, I'm not sure how the rules are determined, but a yellow card can and will be awarded to Josh Slack if he persists in moving prior to the ball being struck.
And again, that's being made very clear.
Jeff Lewis to our left, a signal that he'll be given another opportunity to save it if he's to move prior to it being struck. This time, a yellow card will be awarded. Oscar Mulgrew shapes up to take it the other side now, feints one way, feints the other. Josh Slack is moving. And Oscar Mulgrew slots it behind. 14.5 minutes in. Manchester United 0, Teesside still 1. Oscar Mulgrew, the scorer.
And I mean, just deserved, I think. That's not a statement about the penalty itself, but if you think about the game so far in the first half, Thomas Meta's had a couple of half chances. He's not, to your point earlier on, he's just not connected fully. So I think they've probably just shaded it.
I would definitely say that Teesside still have been the more attacking of the two. And it was a clear penalty. So Teesside still arguably the better value for this scoreline, but Manchester United will want to attack the game now. Three points for Teesside still in this game would see them go on to 12 points, locked on the same as Leeds Dynamos, but Leeds Dynamos with a far superior goal difference. So even if they are able to secure 3 points in this one, they would need 7 further goals to leapfrog them in the standings, which is highly unlikely, but that won't be the objective here for Teesside. It'll be about getting 3 points over the line to cap a brilliant round of fixtures this Saturday. Manchester United open things tomorrow, 10:25 against Nottingham Forest before facing Leeds Dynamos at 3 3. Teesside still open things against Villa Rockets Lions at 9:15 before facing Sale United at 5 2. Oscar Mulgrew trying to pick out Thomas Met. It's always nice for teams to finish game week 2 on a high, considering that long break that we observe. Taking a nice placement into the new year is always favourable.
Here's a question, Ryan. Having not been here this morning, my eye has been taken in the other court momentarily because Hair Watch. Are you doing that again?
Power Hair will be a feature on the analysis of game week 2, which Alex and I will be doing across the 2-on-1 Powered Chair Football podcast, powered now by MK Battery. We will get together in the week to dive into all of the topics and fixtures and results and player performances from game week 2 as Thomas Met tries to attack it on that right-hand post. But absolutely, Aston Walls of Hull and East Yorkshire adorning bright green hair. I did have a conversation with him earlier, and I've set him the challenge of having a new hair colour for every game week of the 24-25 campaign. It was bright orange during game week 1 a few months ago.
Does it count that I normally have reddish hair but I become more grey. Is that 2?
You'd have to have a mohawk or style it in a way to feature on Power Hair, I think.
I think the more observant people will notice in my time as chair that my parting has now gone the other way in my hair. That, for me, that constitutes big change. My wife is to your left, Ryan. I think she's finding that quite hilarious.
I'll be very neutral. It's fairly intimidating being in between a married couple. Have to toe the line. Manchester United just struggling to get out of second gear, really. They haven't managed to distribute the ball out to either Shannon Smith or Sam Taylor. We know Sam Taylor can be absolutely clinical when given the opportunity. Final minute of the first 20. Manchester United 0, Teesside still 1. Penalty scored by Oscar Mulgrew following contact in the box from Josh Slack. That's talking about contact. Thomas Met appealing to the referee. And Kieran Burns made contact. Worth noting that should Thomas Met pick up a yellow card in this game, he will be suspended, and due to player availability, they only have 2 PF1s at their disposal. As classification goes within the WFA National League, you must have 2 PF1s present at any one time. PF1s essentially designate a player's level of ability and dexterity. So the more impaired players will be designated PF1s, which is done for a classification process. Just tries to keep it level playing field and as even as possible. Thomas Met being one of the 2 PF1s present within this matchday squad means that a yellow card for him would mean they would have to have just 3 players. So if they are to make a substitute, if Luke Keenan is to feature, it will be in the place of either goalkeeper Isaac Murray or Jamil Khan, the 2 PF2s present at present. Shannon Smith trying to prevent Jamil Khan as we tick into a single minute over the regulation 20. Obviously we had 90 seconds or so through that penalty process, which needs to be factored in. Jamil Khan into Oscar Mulgrew. Kieran Burns now with an opportunity to break. Down to Jamil Khan. Signalled out of play by Jamie King on the far side. We are now at 90 seconds over the regulation 20. So surely the last passage of play. GBG Knights currently a goal to the good against Hull and East Yorkshire on court A. Also live on the WFA's YouTube channel as Jamil Khan tries to pick out Thomas Met here on court B. Now over 2 minutes of additional time have been played. Mulgrew. Opportunity now to break. Sam Taylor gets connection. Nothing to trouble Isaac Murray a great deal. It's been a fairly quiet 23.5 minutes for the Teesside Steel goalkeeper. And that will be the last action of the first half. Manchester United 0, Teesside Steel 1. Join myself and Dean for the second half shortly. Hello everyone and welcome to the final half of football today in game week 2 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship between Manchester United and Teesside, still currently separated by a single goal for Oscar Mulgrew. This season we are thrilled to welcome Optegra Eye Healthcare as the official sponsors, encompassing both Premiership and Championship division. Optegra's support marks a significant milestone in our mission to expand power chair football and improve lives through inclusive sports. They're a renowned eye care provider since 2007, and their sponsorship is more than just the branding. It's about supporting a sport that empowers people, builds confidence, and of course showcases talent. Their partnership will not only help elevate power chair football, but bring awareness to and the importance of overall well-being, both physically and mentally. And as you can see from your streams, as the second half of action gets underway this weekend, we are also proudly supporting Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign. The acknowledgement of ensuring football is inclusive of all, irrelevant of sexuality, supporting over 1 million people to help drive change. We're reaffirming our commitment to creating a sport where everyone feels free to be themselves. You're joining myself, Ryan Sipple, and WFA chairperson Dean Williams for the action live from the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, as Kieran Burns just having a conversation with the referee. The team's unchanged from that finished the first half. So Manchester United have Josh Slack, Kieran Burns, Sam Taylor and Shannon Smith. Teesside Steel, Isaac Murray, Oscar Mulgrew, Jamil Khan and Thomas Met. Thomas Met reluctant to let Josh Slack pass him. Two on one. Well signalled by Alan Murray, our central referee. Kieran Burns, intercepted by Oscar Mulgrew. You can see there's a lot of deliberation and in the comment section of the YouTube stream about the penalty which was awarded in the first half. And I think whilst it may appear like a soft decision across the streams, it was almost definitely a penalty in favour of Teesside Steel. Contact in the box, deems it that way. I think even Josh Slack put his hands up to acknowledge the fact that he was a little overzealous in his pursuit of possession, ultimately giving that penalty away, which was taken 3 times due to Josh Slack moving prior to the ball being struck by the Teesside Steel number 16. Isaac Murray into Oscar Mulgrew. Just gifts possession back to Sam Taylor. Kieran Burns just hesitates in that rotated spin kick. Could have potentially distributed the ball out to Shannon Smith on the right.
They've not really got going, have they, United, in this game at all?
No, it's been an up and down day for them. And they're just lacking that little bit of a cutting edge, and they've struggled to get some momentum. Whilst they secured 3 points in their opening game against Manchester City, on paper they were by and far the favourite. Two teams with very different aspirations for the 24-25 season. And a disappointing defeat to GBG Knights, who are just asserting their dominance on Court A currently. So they're going to want to desperately try and get something from this game ahead of tomorrow's fixtures.
I'm right in saying, Ryan, that GBG Knights, before that reversal, they've been very, very tight, haven't they, defensively? So maybe that's taken a little bit out of United, because it definitely, they're struggling to get going in this game, 100%.
Kieran Burns to take. Obviously, prior to today kicking off, Manchester United were yet to concede a goal in the 24-25 season. So yeah, it speaks to that kind of defensive stability. I didn't watch the game against GBG Knights, but talking to people that did, said it was a really entertaining affair, which saw Manchester United go toe-to-toe with GBG Knights. It was open, it was attacking, it was expansive, and ultimately Manchester United did go for the game. They didn't sit back and just absorb pressure, which ultimately led to their downfall. I think their vulnerabilities were a result of them really going for the game, which is great to see if that is true. I think since Teesside still scored that penalty, we've seen them shut up shop a little bit, which has allowed Manchester United to grow in stature. Out of play for a Teesside steel ball. Josh Slack with very little involvement in the 6 minutes we've played of this second half.
Jamil Khan being very cute in terms of just bouncing the ball off. In that case, oh my God, I'll let you just cover that one first. Wow.
I think it speaks for itself. That was one of the most clear-cut opportunities you are ever likely to see. Thomas Met will be kicking himself, as is Oscar Mulgrew with his head in his hands.
Yes.
An opportunity to double their advantage, and would have almost certainly seen them cruise to a victory here. That's going to be one of those moments that dictates the game, potentially. And if Manchester United are able to assert a little bit more attacking pressure and go on to potentially secure an equaliser, we will go back to that moment and that missed opportunity. But if you're Thomas Met, forget about it, get it out your system, and make sure the next time the ball comes in your vicinity, you're there to capitalise. You called him the poacher for a reason. He puts himself in those areas, which means them chances are a common occurrence.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, to give him some credit, he's been isolated for large parts of this second half, for the game in its entirety for that matter. So maintaining concentration is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Very much poacher for that reason. Keep getting in those positions and see what you can generate. And he's got to get rid of that one, hasn't he? He'll know that's a golden opportunity, as you say, Ryan, to put this game to bed pretty much. I was going to go back to Jamil Khan being very cute about almost pest-like bouncing the ball off people's front bumper, back of their wheel, just to win those throw-ins, buying them a little bit extra time. He's doing that very, very well.
He's so experienced. He obviously had a long break from playing power chair football, but we highlighted it on social media in the week of the active players currently competing in the championship. He's second in the all-time scorer list. So
76, did I see?
76 goals to his name in total. A slight He's got 50 to make up on Rickenshaw on 126. But it just shows that he has the experience, and you're seeing that when he is bouncing the ball off players and the opposition to try and create more space for both himself to capitalise and strike the ball, but also to draw players in so his teammates benefit from the gaps in and around the court.
Did I also see that he said he would retire when he hits 100 goals?
Did he?
I think that's a comment he made, yeah. Let's see.
We're going to see a switch up for Manchester United now, who are going to put Shannon Smith in the white goalkeeper jersey. So we're going to see Josh Slack's feature outfield. Obviously looking to chase this game and switch up what they currently are doing, because it doesn't seem to be working. There's a real let-off, that opportunity that was missed that by Thomas Met. That was the final warning sign. So an opportunity for Manchester United here. Sorry, for Teesside still. Jamil Khan to take. Keep an eye on Thomas Met. Jamil Khan just trying to play it out for a corner ball off the back wheel of Josh Slack, which he's able to do. 10 minutes remaining. Manchester United 0, Teesside still 1. Over to Isaac Murray now joining the attack. Thomas Met, the most defensive of the 4 Teesside Steel players.
It's an interesting tactical move, that.
Obviously, Manchester United have switched up their approach with Josh Slack now coming out, but they're going to need possession to capitalise on that switch. Very vocal from Kieran Burns, who's dispossessed by the goal scorer, Oscar Mulgrew. Certainly, by comparison of earlier fixtures, fairly lethargic and low energy this one, but when you play 5 fixture weekends, they tend to have that effect. Both played the first game of the day and the last game of the day, so have to maintain concentration, alertness, stamina for hours on end. Josh Slack does well. Round of applause from Pete Taylor on the sideline for Manchester United. Through the gap, Sam Taylor's going to capitalise and ricochets off the post. Kindly in front of the number 25's chair. That was an absolutely sensational ball from Josh Slack. An inspired change by Pete Taylor to give him the keys to roam Shannon Smith in goal. And how he squeezed that ball through that gap, I don't know.
That's extraordinary. That is absolutely extraordinary. They've just started, haven't they? I think sometimes when you feel about from their perspective that they were very close to going 2-0 down, sometimes it gives you a bit of a lift, doesn't it? That when you think that that could have been game gone, and you feel that something's happened since that chance was missed, and they're more in the ascendancy, and there we go. That's the result of that.
What did we say about that moment from Thomas Net being really significant? And if Manchester United are going to go on and potentially find that equaliser, we will look back at that moment. But that aside, that ball from Josh Slack, who's just come out of goal to contribute to the attacking phases of play. our balls are 33 centimetre diameters. That must have been a 34 centimetre gap between Isaac Murray and Jamil Khan. And
I think that's true. Like you say, what an inspired change.
we saw it across game week 1, and I said it on the podcast from Pete Taylor. And during game week 1, Manchester United only had 4 players at their disposal. They have 5 now, but Anne-Marie Robinson is experiencing power chair football in England for the first time. You have to make do with what you've got, and that means you have to switch up the players, put them in different positions, and try different things with the players that are currently present. And switching that up has just refreshed their attack, and it's the reason why they've got back into this game. Josh Slack is such a competent goalkeeper, but outfield as well. He's so effective, and we saw it there, attacking wide, ball across the box. Sam Taylor almost wasn't prepared to capitalise on the ball. Yeah. I don't think he thought the ball would be able to fit through that gap, and it did ricochet kindly off that left-hand post. Not for Sam Taylor, the right as you're viewing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. He perhaps didn't anticipate it, but he reacted really quickly, didn't he, Sam Taylor, to get that in?
There's a comment on the YouTube stream that the manager is Pep Guardiola, an inspired substitution.
He may not like that reference, given the United City bit.
Given the United shirt that he's wearing, maybe Ruben Almiron, as Josh Slack looking to build on that earlier goal. Back to Kieran Burns, doesn't quite make the timing and/or connection. Just wasn't quite prepared to usher it over to Sam Taylor. But Manchester United ending this game the better of the two. Too much pace for Sam Taylor to keep in, unfortunately. But it's come to life. It was fairly slow, as mentioned already, lethargic. But within a split second, it booms into life. And now Manchester United will be looking at ways in which they can take 3 points, which if I said that to you 3 or 4 minutes ago, you would have called me crazy.
Yes. That's football.
That certainly is. A point here for Manchester United would see them end today with 14 points from their opening 7 games, so an average of 2 per game is not bad at all, considering they've played the top teams in the division.
Exactly what they need after that 4-0 reversal as well. It's a big one, this, isn't it? If they can either see this out or indeed better it. They definitely had momentum in this game for the last few minutes.
Whilst Josh Slack provides that defensive stability, which is probably why he's utilised in goal, you question why this decision wasn't made sooner almost, because they're really taking the game to Teesside still now. It's that fluidity and that versatility of their attacking players. Josh Slack currently in the centre, Kieran Burns out on the wing. Jamil Khan having to pull on all of that experience to prevent Manchester United from getting further up the court. Looks as if Alan Murray has got the yellow card in his hand to be awarded to Jamil Khan. So a direct free kick here to be taken by Josh Slack into Sam Taylor, across the box to Kieran Burns. Just one or two too many passes there. I would like to see Sam Taylor just go for goal and then look to capitalise on any ricochets as he did for his equalising goal. There's a tendency sometimes to overplay things, which in turn overcomplicates things. But what a brilliant end to this game it is. Final 90 seconds. Manchester United won, Teesside still won. Manchester United looking to find that winning goal. Keep an eye on Thomas Met. if they're able to break, which they've done so here, he's going to force the ball into Shannon Smith, who's going to be tested in goal for the first time. Thomas Met surely going to try and play for a corner.
Last minute, Ryan.
I would ask you for your player of the match, but I think I might wait for the conclusion of the full-time whistle before doing so. But I'll ask you to start your thought process around who you think, as Thomas Met just wasn't quite set. Frustration from Oscar Mulgrew again. Had he anticipated that ball coming straight back in that top right-hand corner, he could have capitalised. Final 15 seconds. Thomas Met into Oscar Mulgrew. Back to Thomas Met. He's going to attempt an effort. Just nicks up on the back of his chair. Wasn't set to capitalise. Regulation 20 has been played now into any additional time. We had nearly 3 minutes in the first half due to that penalty being retaken 3 times. As Jamil Khan's going to try and flick the ball past Shannon Smith. Josh Slack and Shannon Smith very much alert to that opportunity. As Teesside still ending the better of the two. End-to-end stuff.
Very much so.
Full time on Court A. GBG Knights 4-0 victors over Hull and East Yorkshire here. Deep into additional time. Teesside still have a kick in. 1-1, finally poised.
Got to be the last chance. Got to be.
Jamil Khan back to Oscar Mulgrew. Out of play. Good work from Kieran Burns. Just to close that gap. It looks like Manchester United will be happy with the point. They're not looking to take that quickly. But if you consider the full context of the game and how things have unfolded, a point probably favours Manchester United more so than it does Teesside Steel. But that's to do them no discredit. Since they made that tactical switch up, probably been the better of the two teams, certainly in terms of attacking presence. Thank you to all that have tuned in. It's been a very active chat on the YouTube stream. We'll be back tomorrow with more action-packed football in the 24-25 Optegra Championship. And that is the last action of both the game and the day. Manchester United won, Teesside Steel won. It was Oscar Mulgrew at the scoring a penalty that opened the scoring. And then later on, the tactical switch up by Pete Taylor saw Josh Slack squeeze the ball in between the Teesside Steel defence to Sam Taylor at the back post. I think he's got 4 goals to his name now across their 7 games, but it finishes 1-1. Manchester United, as the standings sit third, 5 points off GBG Knights, who just had a fairly emphatic win over Hull and East Yorkshire. Teesside Steel in 6th on 10 points. Again, a very good accumulation of points for them. But thank you to all that have joined me. Thank you, Dean.
Do you want player of the match?
And I want player of the match.
I'm thinking surely people are waiting for this, Ryan.
They are, with bated breath.
So 2 names to mention here, because I think if we look across the 2 halves, Oscar Mulgrew I thought was exceptional in the first period. But actually, I often think about Josh Slack for his defensive quality, and of course leading into that game against GBG Knights, where we had that reversal, normally famed that defensive quality. That switch up, that precision of that pass, for me, that wins him player of the match.
It was just a sensational pass. I'm gonna watch it back when I'm given the opportunity, because there's few better assists you'll see within the sport of power chair football. So full credit to him. I absolutely raved about him during game week 1, but I think credit to Pete Taylor as well. We did it a number of times. We commentated on Manchester United for a few games throughout game week 1. And the fact that they're able to switch it up with the same players present is almost more impressive than bringing on substitutes to influence the play.
So I'm going to give player of the match to Josh Slack, but I'm going to give an assist for player of the match to Pete Taylor. How about that?
I'll take that, absolutely. But thank you to all that have joined myself and Dean. We will be back tomorrow for game week 2 of the 2024-25 Optegra Championship.